Welcome to the first section on input and output in C. In the coming two sections, we will learn more about how to perform input and output operations in C. We have already seen some examples that use printf. Printf is an output function. It means that it is a function that allows the program to give some output. An easy way to receive output from a program is by getting it displayed on the computer's display device. That is what printf does. Alternatively, the output could go to a file. Similarly, an input function like scanf helps the user to give some input to the program. Input can come from the keyboard or from a file. Printf, scanf and other input and output functions are part of the standard input-output library that comes with the C compilers. C language is not very rich in input and output facilities, and the functions available are very primitive. For developing a good user interface in C, the programmers usually write their own functions that use the basic input and output functions available in the standard libraries. The standard input-output library was part of the ANSI C standard that was finalized in 1989, and no functions have been added to the standard library later. The limitation of the hardware and technologies available at that time has limited the input and output functions available. For example, there are no functions that support color monitors because one could not guarantee that the hardware platform would have a color monitor. Similarly, the standard input and output functions do not support mouse input, text based or high resolution graphics output, or other input and output devices that were not standard at that time. To overcome such limitations, many programmers either create their own input and output libraries specific to the hardware platform and interface tasks required by the program, or they purchase such libraries from third-party vendors. There are many libraries available in the market for helping in the creation and management of menus, high resolution graphics, pop-up windows, forms and so on. Standard input and output. Each hardware platform has its own way of interacting with its environment. Different peripheral devices like the keyboard, the mouse and the monitor communicate with the computer in different ways. The designers of C had two options while designing the input and output functions for C. One was to write separate compilers for every hardware platform, and the other option was creating a universal language that does not include the hardware specific input and output operations. They chose the second option, and the standard library provided just a standard set of input and output operations in the header file stdio.h that is part of the standard C libraries. The actual implementations of these functions vary from platform to platform and are not included in this file. Implementations are available as object files for various platforms. Any C program that uses these standard operations can be compiled and run on any hardware platform as long as the object files for stdio functions are available on that platform. The standard input and output library considers input or output as just a stream of text characters. It is a very simple model. That is why it does not support a complex graphical interface directly. A text stream consists of a sequence of lines and each line ends with a new line character. If the hardware and operating system platform does not operate in this way, the library functions implemented for that platform will try to make it appear like a sequence of lines as far as possible. Input functions like scanf assume that the text stream is input from a standard input device like a keyboard, and output functions like printf direct the text stream to the standard display of the machine, that is the monitor or the screen. Instead, we can also take input from a file or redirect the output to some file. We will keep the detailed discussions on the file access functions for a later section on file operations. In many environments, a program that expects input from a keyboard say a program that uses scanf for reading the input, can be used to take the input from a file by using input redirection using the less than symbol. For example, the command program less than file1 will run the executable file called program with all the input coming from the text file called file1 as if it was reading the same text stream from a keyboard. Similarly, a file can substitute for the monitor output by using the greater than symbol. For example, the command program greater than file2 runs the executable file called program and writes all the output to the text file called file2 instead of displaying it on the computer screen. It is also possible to redirect both input and output simultaneously with a command like program less than file1 greater than file2. Such redirection is possible because the C language has defined input and output to be stream based, and therefore, the substitution of one source of input with another or one destination of the output with another does not make any difference to the functions available in the library. Also, most operating systems define input and output as just text streams. Therefore, substituting files for keyboards or files for monitors is a natural thing to do. One limitation of this input and output model is that they provide only terminal like facilities. The use of characteristics such as color, screen positioning, mouse or scanner input, graphics and sound are not part of this stream based model. If the user interface requires these features, then we will have to write our own functions or use functions that others have written for such purposes. Let us take a look at the header file stdio.h that comes with C compilers. The name stdio is an abbreviation for standard input and output. .h shows that it is a header file which defines the function interfaces or how to use those functions without getting into the details of how exactly that function is implemented. The keyboard and the monitor are the default input and output devices respectively. Getchar is the simplest input function and it reads a single character from the keyboard. Similarly, putchar takes a single character as its argument and displays that character at the monitor. See this example: #include stdio.h void main char c printf type 1 character /n c equal to getchar printf the character is putchar c. Here the first line of the program uses a #include statement. The name stdio.h is provided in double quotes or within less than and greater than symbols. The system looks for the header file named stdio.h and replaces this statement with the contents of that file. Any header file included like this must contain valid C statements so that our program can be compiled without errors. Several different header files come with the C compiler. We may include the header files that are required to serve our purpose. If less than and greater than symbols are used, the system searches for the header file in the program libraries. If it is given in double quotes, it first searches the current directory. If it is not found in the current directory, it looks in the libraries. A header file usually contains only the prototypes and interfaces for the data structures and functions provided by the library. The actual implementations for the library functions must be available as an object file so that it can be linked with the program during the linking phase of the compilation process. A program may include many header files and hence it may need a large number of program libraries. The rest of this program is about the actual use of input and output operations in C. Input output programming in C. C was originally designed as a systems language meant for extensive operations to be carried out internally on the data. Since it is not designed mainly for input and output operations, many people choose other languages for programs that require a large variety of input and output operations. But with some practice, one can learn to use input and output operations of C in an effective way. GetChar and PutChar are two basic functions available for input and output operations in C, and they form the base of all input and output operations provided by stdio. Let us take a quick look at how these functions work in the sample program that we saw. As we have seen in earlier modules, the line printf type 1 character /n prints the text type 1 character on our display, and the cursor goes to the next line. Character input. The simplest input mechanism in C is to read one character at a time from the standard input, normally the keyboard, with a function called getChar. The function prototype is int getChar. This function does not take any arguments, and the integer value returned by this function is the integer value corresponding to the character that is read from the keyboard. Thus, when the line C equal to getChar is executed, the program expects the user to hit some key on the keyboard, and when the key is pressed, the variable C gets the value of the character that the key corresponds to. If we wanted to keep reading in characters, the getChar could be used in a loop. We will see the loop control structure in detail in another section. The next line, printf the character is, displays the text as it is, and the following line, PutChar C, prints the character C that was read from the keyboard in the same line. The character gets displayed at the current cursor location, and the cursor is advanced by one position. getChar and PutChar can be used as basic blocks if we want to write more sophisticated input and output routines that are not available in the standard library. getCh is another function that is also used to read a single character from the keyboard input. C equal to getCh. It is similar to getChar, and the only difference is that getChar input goes through an operating system buffer, whereas input through getCh goes directly to the machine. The characters read using getChar are stored in a buffer, and the characters are displayed on the screen as we type them. These characters are read one by the program when the user presses an enter, or when the system encounters a new line and a carriage return if the input is being read from a file. Whereas getCh reads the character in without displaying it on the screen, and it is directly read by the program immediately as it is typed. So, which one do we prefer, getChar or getCh? The right choice depends on the application, because each method has its advantages and disadvantages. When using the first method, the operating system is actually doing all of the work by storing the characters in an input buffer and passing it on to the program when a full line has been entered. The advantage of allowing the operating system to perform the actual input is that the computer could be performing other tasks even as the user is giving the input from a keyboard. However, single keystrokes cannot be entered with this technique, because many operating systems do not report a buffer until it recognizes a carriage return. The second method allows the program to get a single character and act on it immediately. The program does not have to wait until the operating system delivers a line of characters. Here, the program must wait for input keystrokes, and hence it requires the input to be read in a loop. The computer cannot perform any other tasks while it is waiting for input. This method is useful for highly interactive types of program interfaces. Reading integers. Most input required by programs is not single character input. Usually, programs require numeric or string based input. This type of input is called formatted input, and the C library provides a mechanism to achieve this kind of input. We will now see an example of how to read in some formatted data. The structure of this program is very similar to the previous one. #include stdio.h void main open bracket int num printf input an integer number scanf %d and num printf the value is %d/n comma num, close bracket. Instead of reading in a single character, an integer value is read from the keyboard with a function named scanf. This function is very similar to the printf that is used for output. Note that the line scanf %d, and num does not return the value of num like getchar or getch. Instead, it takes the address of the variable num as an argument. It reads integer characters until it finds a blank or an enter or an invalid decimal character. At that time, it stops reading the input and the value of the integer read from the keyboard gets stored at the address of num when this line is executed. As with printf, the %d specifies that it is a decimal integer variable that is expected. Like getchar, scanf also reads the input through the operating system's buffer. The program reads the input only when the enter key is pressed, that is, when the text stream is terminated by a carrier's returned character. At this point, the program scans through the content of the buffer and reads the first integer value entered. If there are more scanf statements following this line in the program, all those statements are executed sequentially. Some common errors with scanf. Not passing a pointer to this function is a common error that people make in using scanf. Another possible error is when the number typed crosses the limits of an integer data type. If the number entered is an integer less than or equal to 32767, it is read in correctly. But if the integer number is larger than that, it does not work as expected. For example, if we enter the number 32768, it is recognized by the computer as minus 32768 and 65536 is read as a 0. This happens because only 16 bits are available for storing an integer and the most significant bit is used as a sign bit, and hence effectively we have only 15 bits left for the value. So, the valid values of an integer variable are integers ranging from minus 32768 to 32767. String input. Character string input. Now, we will see how to read a string variable. See this example, hash include stdio.h void main char name 25 printf input a name up to 24 characters /n scanf %s name printf the name entered is %s/n name. We use %s instead of %d to tell the machine that we are expecting a string variable. The major difference here is that we read the string into an array variable which is a pointer in itself. So, we do not have to use the AND in the scanf statement. The upper limit on the string length in this program is 24 and not 25 because the string has to end with a null character. Scanf reads the string till it encounters a blank space or a new line, like in the case of reading an integer. For instance, in this program, if we enter Abdul space Kalam when prompted to input a name, it would print the name entered is Abdul. It does not print Kalam because there is a space in between. Line input. If we want to read a line of characters without dividing it into individual words, it is more convenient to use the function getS. See an example, char name 25 printf input a name maximum of 24 characters /n getS name printf the name entered is %s/n name. Now, the program will read an entire line including spaces in the string variable called name. The getS function is simple and elegant, but the danger is that it does not check whether the user has entered more characters than that can be stored in the character array where it is being read in. If the user enters more characters, the behavior is not predictable. It could corrupt the data stored in other variables, or the program could even crash. The text file function fgetS can be used with standard input in order to avoid this danger. Another way is to write a function to read a line of text and also check that the data entry does not exceed the length of the character string. In such a function, we could call getChar in a loop, so that it reads in characters as long as the limit is not crossed until the program encounters a new line in the input. Let us summarize what we learned in this section. We learned to identify and describe the purpose of the C standard input output library. We got familiar with the use of standard input operations in C programs. We got started with the use of standard output operations in C. I have a couple of exercise questions for you. 1. Write a program that will prompt the user and accept as input an integer, a character, a string and a floating point number in that order. 2. What is the value returned by getChar function? There are some books for your reference. 1. B.W. Kernighan and D.M. Ritchie, The C Programming Language. 2. Yashwant Kanetkar, Let Us See. You may also refer to the link http://hiu.hiu.no/tilde mark/ctutorial/ctutorial.html. We will learn in detail about the output operations in the next section. Till then, bye.